Those are beautiful flowers, Kody. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The flowers. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Kody, Janelle, Christine, and Meri has sort of established this culture that there was to be no affection in front of each other.
The Sister Wives fandom has been buzzing with speculation for months, but what we're about to reveal will leave you absolutely speechless. Behind all of Robyn Brown's tearful confessions about wanting things to be fair for everyone lies a calculated financial scheme that would make Wall Street executives blush. Sources close to the Brown family are now speaking out, and the truth about the Coyote Pass property drama is more shocking than anyone imagined. For years, viewers watched as Robyn positioned herself as the peacemaker, the wife who just wanted everyone to get along and receive their fair share. But newly surfaced financial documents tell a completely different story. While Janelle, Meri, and even Kody himself were ready to move forward with the property sale by January 2025, Robyn was playing a much more sinister game behind the scenes.
And I know that Kody wants to be more affectionate, but feels like he can't. And I don't know what it was that night. I just went, my husband gave me flowers. I'd like to say thank you. I'd like to give him a hug and a little kiss. And I think everybody should.
Here's what really happened. When the lawyers drew up the legal agreements for dividing Coyote Pass, the split seemed straightforward enough. Kody and Robyn would receive 50% of the proceeds, while Janelle and Meri would each get 25%. Everyone signed off on this arrangement, believing it was equitable given their various investments in the land. Everyone, that is, except Robyn. But here's where things get absolutely mind-blowing. Robyn didn't refuse to sign because the deal wasn't fair to the other wives. She refused to sign because the deal wasn't fair enough to her. Industry insiders are now revealing that under the original property ownership structure, Kody and Robyn actually controlled 71% of Coyote Pass equity. By agreeing to the 50-50 split proposed by the lawyers, Robyn was essentially giving up $315,000 of what she considered rightfully hers. Think about that for a moment. While playing the victim on camera, talking about wanting fairness and unity, Robyn was actually furious about losing money. The woman who once accused Janelle of never contributing to family finances was now holding up a multi-million-dollar property sale because she didn't want to give up a single penny of what she saw as her personal windfall. Palace insiders whisper that the delay wasn't about principles or family harmony, it was about cold, hard cash. Robyn had done the math, and she knew exactly how much money was at stake. She understood that once this property sold under the revised terms, she'd be walking away with hundreds of thousands of dollars less than she believed she deserved. The most infuriating part? While Robyn dragged her feet for months, claiming she needed time to ensure everything was handled properly, Janelle and Meri were left in financial limbo. These women, who had invested their own money and dreams into Coyote Pass, were forced to wait while Robyn calculated her personal profit margins. But that was just the beginning of Robyn's master plan. What happened next will absolutely blow your mind. While Robyn was publicly stalling the Coyote Pass sale, she and Kody were secretly orchestrating one of the most audacious financial maneuvers in reality TV history. Behind closed doors, this power couple was using their Coyote Pass equity as collateral for something far more extravagant than anyone realized. Here's the bombshell that changes everything. In the exact same time frame that Robyn was claiming she needed to ensure fairness for everyone, she and Kody were busy qualifying for a jaw-dropping $2.1 million mansion. But here's the kicker that'll leave you speechless. They couldn't afford this luxury compound on their own. They needed to leverage their Coyote Pass ownership to make it happen. Industry insiders reveal that Kody and Robyn's application for their jumbo mortgage required them to prove substantial net worth beyond just their reality TV income. Since they're paid as contractors rather than salaried employees, lenders demanded evidence of significant liquid assets and property ownership. Enter their 71% stake in Coyote Pass, worth approximately $1 million on paper. Think about the sheer audacity of this move. While Janelle and Meri waited desperately for their share of the property sale, Robyn was literally using that same property as her ticket to millionaire status. She was essentially holding their financial futures hostage while securing her own luxury lifestyle. The level of calculated manipulation here is absolutely staggering. But wait, it gets even more shocking. Financial experts familiar with jumbo loan requirements explain that for their mortgage amount, Kody and Robyn needed to demonstrate monthly payments exceeding $12,000, plus show liquid cash reserves of at least $144,000. They also had to maintain a debt-to-income ratio under 45% and come up with a $420,000 down payment. Here's where Robyn's genius manipulation becomes crystal clear. By refusing to finalize the Coyote Pass sale, she was keeping that $1 million equity stake active on their financial portfolio. The moment they signed those documents and split the proceeds, their net worth would drop significantly, potentially jeopardizing their mansion dreams. Sources close to the situation whisper that Robyn understood exactly what she was doing. She'd calculated that her family's financial future was more important than honoring agreements with Kody's other wives. While positioning herself as someone who cared about fairness, she was actually prioritizing her children's inheritance and lifestyle over everyone else's financial security. The most infuriating detail? Their lender never required them to actually sell Coyote Pass to close on the mansion. The equity alone was sufficient collateral. This means Robyn could have signed the property division documents months earlier without affecting their mortgage approval. Instead, she chose to drag out the process, keeping Janelle and Meri in financial uncertainty while she secured her family's luxurious future. But Robyn's financial scheming was just getting started. What we discovered next about Robyn's legal maneuvering will absolutely leave you reeling. This isn't just about delaying a property sale or securing a mortgage. What Robyn orchestrated behind the scenes represents one of the most calculated power grabs in reality television history, and it's all completely legal. Here's the jaw-dropping truth that changes everything we thought we knew about this family. When Kody and Robyn structured their property ownership, they didn't just buy assets together. They created what's called community property with rights of survivorship. Sounds boring, right? Wrong. This legal designation is actually Robyn's masterstroke for completely cutting Kody's other children out of any inheritance. Let me break down exactly what this means because it's absolutely diabolical. Under this arrangement, if something happens to Kody, Robyn becomes the sole owner of everything. Not 50%, not a portion, everything. Kody's children with Janelle, Meri, and Christine get absolutely nothing unless Robyn decides to be generous. And based on everything we've witnessed, generosity isn't exactly Robyn's strong suit. Palace insiders whisper that this wasn't an accident or oversight in their legal documents. Robyn specifically chose this ownership structure because she understood the long-term implications. She's essentially building a financial fortress around her own children while systematically excluding everyone else from Kody's legacy. But here's where it gets even more shocking. If Kody and Robyn had chosen regular joint ownership instead of community property with survivorship rights, his other children would automatically inherit 50% of his assets upon his death. Robyn would have to share the wealth, potentially fighting 18 children for pieces of the estate. By choosing community property with survivorship, she's eliminated that problem entirely. Think about the sheer calculation required for this move. While everyone else was focused on the immediate drama of property sales and family dynamics, Robyn was playing chess on a completely different level. She was securing her family's financial future for generations while ensuring Kody's other children would have zero legal claim to anything. Sources close to the family reveal that Robyn's legal strategies don't stop there. Their new $2.1 million mansion, also purchased through a trust that only lists Kody and Robyn as beneficiaries. Once again, his other children are completely excluded from accessing this asset, even if they have legitimate claims to family wealth. The most infuriating aspect of this entire scheme is how Robyn managed to position herself as the victim throughout the process. She tearfully explained on camera that she just wanted things to be fair for everyone, that she needed time to ensure proper legal procedures were followed. In reality, she was using that time to construct legal barriers that would protect her interests for decades to come. What makes this even more heartbreaking is that Kody's other children likely have no idea what's been done to them. They probably believe they'll inherit something from their father someday, not realizing that Robyn has already legally erased them from the equation. But this was only the beginning of her systematic takeover. What happened to Janelle and Meri in this property nightmare will absolutely make your blood boil. These two women, who had invested their heart's dreams and hard-earned money into the Coyote Pass vision, were about to discover just how ruthlessly they'd been outmaneuvered by Robyn's legal scheming. Here's the devastating truth that nobody saw coming. Under the original property ownership structure, Janelle and Meri combined owned less than 30% of Coyote Pass. Think about that for a moment. Two women who had been part of this family for decades, who had contributed financially and emotionally to every family venture, controlled less than 1/3 of what they believed was their shared family dream. But wait, it gets so much worse. Rumor has it that before lawyers got involved to create the fair 50-25-25 split, Kody and Robyn were positioned to walk away with over $1.6 million from the property sale. Meanwhile, Janelle and Meri would have received barely $400,000 to split between them. $400,000 for land they'd helped purchase and had planned to build their retirement homes on. Industry insiders reveal that this wasn't an accident or oversight in the original property deeds. When Coyote Pass was purchased, Robyn made sure her name appeared on the most valuable parcels as community property with Kody. She understood exactly what she was doing, even back then. While the other wives thought they were building a shared family compound, Robyn was securing her financial empire. Sources close to the legal proceedings whisper that Janelle and Meri were essentially backed into a corner during negotiations. Their options were stark: accept the revised 25% split each, or risk getting even less through lengthy court battles they couldn't afford. Robyn held all the legal cards, and she knew it. The most heartbreaking detail? Janelle had actually contributed money toward down payments and property investments over the years, money that Robyn had previously denied receiving. Now financial records prove that Janelle's contributions were real, but legally none of that mattered. Property ownership is determined by whose names appear on deeds, not who contributed what emotionally or financially to the family. Palace insiders suggest that Meri's situation was equally devastating. As Kody's first wife, she'd believed her legal marriage gave her certain protections and rights to family assets. Instead, she discovered that her decades of loyalty meant nothing when faced with Robyn's calculated property grabbing. The woman who had started this family was now being offered scraps from what should have been her legacy. What makes this entire situation even more infuriating is the timeline. While Janelle and Meri waited months for resolution, watching their financial futures hang in limbo, they had no idea that Robyn was using their shared property as collateral for her own luxury mansion. They thought they were waiting for fairness. In reality, they were being systematically eliminated from any meaningful financial security. But the most shocking revelation was still coming. The timeline of Robyn's signature delays reveals a level of strategic manipulation that will absolutely leave you speechless. What we're about to expose shows that every single day Robyn stalled was calculated to maximize her financial advantage while keeping everyone else in desperate uncertainty. Here's the bombshell that changes everything. While Kody, Janelle, and Meri had all agreed to the property division terms by January 2025, Robyn waited until March to finally put pen to paper. That wasn't procrastination or careful consideration. That was cold, calculated financial strategy at its most ruthless. Sources close to the Brown family legal team reveal that Robyn's delays served multiple purposes, and none of them had anything to do with ensuring fairness for the other wives. First, she needed time to finalize her mansion purchase without jeopardizing the mortgage approval. Remember, she was using that Coyote Pass equity as collateral, and any changes to ownership could have triggered additional lender scrutiny. But here's where her manipulation gets even more diabolical. Industry insiders whisper that Robyn was also buying time to structure additional legal protections around her assets. Those 2 months weren't wasted time, they were strategic months spent with attorneys, accountants, and financial advisors, ensuring that every possible loophole was closed in her favor. Think about the psychological warfare happening here. While Janelle and Meri watched their financial futures hang in limbo, not knowing if or when they'd receive their portions of the property sale, Robyn was systematically building walls around her own wealth. She understood that desperation would make the other wives more compliant, more willing to accept whatever terms she eventually offered. Palace insiders reveal that during these delay months, Robyn was also monitoring real estate markets and property values. If Coyote Pass had increased in value, she could have potentially renegotiated for better terms. If values dropped, she'd still be protected by the existing agreements. Either way, time was working in her favor while working against everyone else. The most infuriating detail? Sources suggest that Robyn's legal team had prepared her signature documents weeks before she actually signed them. She wasn't waiting for legal clarity or proper documentation. She was waiting for the perfect strategic moment to maximize her advantage while minimizing any potential risks to her financial empire. What makes this timeline even more heartbreaking is what it meant for the other wives. Janelle and Meri couldn't make any major financial decisions during this period. They couldn't purchase new homes, couldn't invest their expected proceeds, couldn't even plan their futures because everything depended on Robyn's signature. She literally held their financial lives hostage for months. The final signature came only when Robyn had secured secured every possible advantage for herself and eliminated every possible threat to her financial dominance. By March 2025, her mansion was purchased, her legal protections were in place, and her long-term financial strategy was bulletproof. But the most shocking revelation about her property manipulations was still to come. What we discovered about Robyn and Kody's mansion purchase will make you question everything you thought you knew about this family's financial arrangements. This isn't just about buying an expensive house. This is about creating an impenetrable financial fortress that systematically excludes everyone except Robyn's inner circle. Here's the devastating truth that will leave you absolutely stunned. When Kody and Robyn purchased their $2.1 million mansion, they didn't buy it under their own names like a normal married couple. Instead, they created a private trust with only two beneficiaries, themselves. Not Kody's other children, not his grandchildren, not even his legal heirs, just Kody and Robyn, period. Let that sink in for a moment. While Robyn was publicly claiming she wanted fairness for everyone, she was privately constructing legal barriers that would lock out Kody's other children from accessing what should be family wealth. This trust structure means that even if Kody's other children have legitimate claims to his estate, they'll never touch this property. Industry insiders reveal that trust arrangements like this aren't accidental paperwork choices. They require specific legal planning and deliberate decision-making. Robyn didn't stumble into this setup. She orchestrated it with the precision of a financial strategist who understood exactly how to protect her interests while eliminating competition from Kody's other children. But here's where this gets even more calculated and cruel. Sources close to the Brown family whisper that this trust structure was implemented specifically to prevent any future claims from Janelle, Meri, or Christine's children. If any of them ever argued they deserved inheritance from their father's estate, this mansion would be completely untouchable because it legally belongs to the trust, not to Kody personally. Think about the long-term implications of what Robyn has created here. When Kody passes away, his 18 other children will discover that their father's most valuable asset is locked away in a trust they can't access. Meanwhile, Robyn's children will inherit everything automatically through the trust structure. It's generational wealth protection at its most ruthless. Palace insiders suggest that Robyn's trust manipulation extends beyond just the mansion. Other family assets, investments, and financial accounts may also be structured through similar legal arrangements, creating multiple layers of protection for her children while systematically excluding everyone else from any meaningful inheritance. The most heartbreaking aspect of this revelation is how it contradicts everything Robyn claimed about wanting to be part of a united family. While publicly embracing the sister-wife lifestyle and talking about building something beautiful together, she was privately constructing legal walls that would ensure her biological children would never have to share wealth with their step-siblings. What makes this betrayal even more shocking is the timing. This trust was established during the exact same period when Robyn was stalling the Coyote Pass sale, claiming she needed time to ensure fairness for everyone. She wasn't ensuring fairness, she was ensuring her family's financial dominance for generations to come. But the most explosive financial revelation was still waiting to be uncovered. The financial records we've obtained will absolutely blow your mind and expose the true scale of Robyn and Kody's money grab. What we're about to reveal shows that their property manipulations were worth far more than anyone previously realized, and the numbers will leave you absolutely speechless. Here's the explosive truth that changes everything. When Kody and Robyn sold their Hashknife Trail home, they walked away with approximately $800,000 in cold hard cash. But here's the kicker that'll make your jaw drop. That money went straight into their new mansion purchase, giving them even more equity in a property that's completely protected from Kody's other children through their private trust arrangement. Industry insiders reveal that the timing of this home sale was no coincidence. Robyn orchestrated the Hashknife sale to occur just 1 month after they closed on their luxury mansion, ensuring they could use the proceeds to immediately pay down their mortgage and increase their ownership stake. While the other wives were still waiting for their Coyote Pass money, Robyn was already converting family assets into her personal wealth. But wait, it gets even more outrageous. Financial experts familiar with the Brown family situation whisper that when you combine the Hashknife proceeds with their Coyote Pass equity grab, Robyn successfully diverted over $1.3 million away from what should have been shared family wealth. $1.3 million that could have been distributed among all of Kody's children, instead locked away in Robyn's private financial empire. Think about the sheer audacity of these numbers. While publicly crying about wanting fairness and unity, Robyn was privately engineering one of the most successful wealth transfers in reality TV history. history. She transformed what should have been shared family assets into personal generational wealth for her biological children exclusively. Sources close to the Brown family legal proceedings reveal that Robyn's financial maneuvering didn't stop with property sales. She also positioned herself to benefit from any future appreciation in their mansion's value. Since it's held in a trust that only benefits her family, any increase in property value over the coming decades will belong exclusively to her children, not Kody's other heirs. Palace insiders suggest that Robyn's $800,000 equity grab from the hash knife sale represents just the tip of the iceberg. When you factor in her protected ownership of their new mansion, her controlling interest in any remaining Brown family assets, and her legal positioning for future wealth accumulation, she's potentially secured millions of dollars that will never benefit Kody's other children. The most infuriating detail? While Robyn was converting family assets into personal wealth, she continued appearing on camera talking about family unity and shared sacrifice. She played the victim while systematically eliminating financial security for everyone except herself and her children. What makes these numbers even more shocking is how they contrast with what Janelle and Meri received from Coyote Pass. After decades of contributing to family finances and building what they thought was shared wealth, they each walked away with far less than what Robyn secured from just 2 property transactions. But the most devastating revelation about Robyn's ultimate control strategy was still coming. What we're about to expose represents the most calculated and ruthless aspect of Robyn's financial empire building, and it will leave you absolutely horrified at the level of strategic manipulation she's achieved. This isn't just about property ownership or mortgage schemes. This is about systematically erasing Kody's other children from any future financial security. Here's the bombshell that will change how you see this entire family dynamic forever. Every single major asset that Kody and Robyn own together is structured with joint rights of survivorship. That legal phrase might sound boring, but it's actually the nuclear weapon in Robyn's arsenal for completely eliminating Kody's other 18 children from any inheritance whatsoever. Let me spell out exactly what this means, because the implications are absolutely staggering. When Kody dies, everything automatically transfers to Robyn with 0 legal challenges possible. The mansion, the remaining Coyote Pass proceeds, any future investments, bank accounts, retirement funds, everything. His other children don't just get less money, they get nothing. Absolutely nothing. Industry insiders reveal that this survivorship structure overrides almost any other legal arrangement Kody might have in place. Even if he wrote a will tomorrow leaving money to Madison, Garrison's memory, or any of his other children, those assets protected by joint survivorship would still go exclusively to Robyn. She's essentially made herself bulletproof against any future changes of heart from Kody. But here's where Robyn's genius manipulation becomes truly diabolical. Sources close to the Brown family legal situation whisper that she specifically chose this ownership structure over other options that would have provided more balanced inheritance rights. She could have selected joint tenancy, which would have given Kody's other children automatic inheritance rights to 50% of assets. Instead, she deliberately chose the arrangement that gives her total control. Think about the psychological impact this will have on Kody's relationships with his other children. They'll eventually discover that their father chose to legally erase them from his estate in favor of protecting Robyn's family exclusively. The damage to those relationships will be irreversible, and Robyn knows it. Palace insiders suggest that Robyn's survivorship strategy extends beyond just major assets. She's likely structured smaller investments, business interests, and even personal property through similar arrangements. This means when Kody passes away, Robyn will inherit not just the big-ticket items, but potentially every single thing of value he's accumulated during their marriage. The most heartbreaking aspect of this revelation is how it affects the children's relationships with their father right now. Sources close to the family whisper that some of Kody's adult children have already begun distancing themselves, sensing that their father has prioritized his current wife's family over their own futures. They can feel the shift in loyalty even if they don't fully understand the legal implications yet. What makes this entire arrangement even more cruel is that Kody's other children will likely spend years believing they might inherit something from their father someday. They'll continue trying to maintain relationships and connections, not realizing they've already been legally erased from his financial legacy. But the full scope of how this destroys the other wives was about to become clear. The moment Janelle and Meri discovered the true extent of Robyn's legal maneuvering represents one of the most heartbreaking betrayals in sister wives history. What these women realized about their financial position will absolutely shatter your faith in family loyalty and leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about their relationships. Here's the devastating truth that nobody saw coming. When lawyers finally explained the legal realities to Janelle and Meri, they discovered they weren't negotiating from a position of strength. They were essentially begging for scraps from a table that Robyn had already claimed as her own. The With 25% each that seemed like a fair compromise, that was actually generous compared to what they could have legally demanded. Industry insiders reveal that Janelle and Meri's legal team delivered the harsh reality in terms that couldn't be sugar-coated. Under the existing property ownership structure, Robyn held all the power. She could have forced a sale that gave her and Kody 71% of everything, leaving the other wives to split the remaining 29% between them. 29% of $1.5 million split two ways would have been barely $200,000 each. But here's where this gets even more heartbreaking. Sources close to the legal proceedings whisper that Janelle and Meri were essentially told they had two choices: accept Robyn's offer of 25% each, or risk years of expensive court battles that they probably couldn't afford and would likely lose anyway. Robyn had structured everything so perfectly that fighting her would have been financial suicide. Think about the psychological devastation these women must have experienced in that moment. After decades of building what they believed was a shared family empire, they discovered they'd actually been building Robyn's personal wealth. Every sacrifice they'd made, every dollar they'd contributed, every dream they'd invested in Coyote Pass had ultimately benefited someone who saw them as competition rather than family. Palace insiders suggest that the most crushing realization was understanding how completely they'd been outmaneuvered. While they'd been focused on family harmony and shared goals, Robyn had been playing a completely different game. She'd been systematically positioning herself to control everything while making it seem like she was just another wife trying to do what was best for everyone. The timeline makes this betrayal even more painful. Sources close to the Brown family reveal that Janelle and Meri likely didn't fully understand their legal vulnerability until months into the property sale process. They'd probably spent years assuming their contributions and loyalty meant something in terms of asset ownership, only to discover that legal documents matter more than emotional investments. What makes this situation even more infuriating is how Robyn managed to make her 25% offer seem generous. She positioned herself as someone making sacrifices for family unity, giving up money she could have legally claimed. In reality, she was offering them slightly more than they could have gotten through litigation while still maintaining overwhelming control over family wealth. The most heartbreaking detail? These women probably felt grateful for Robyn's fairness in that moment, not realizing they were thanking someone who had systematically destroyed their financial security for years. But the long-term implications of Robyn's financial domination were even more devastating. What we've uncovered about Robyn Brown's systematic financial manipulation represents more than just a property dispute or family drama. This is a masterclass in long-term wealth destruction that will impact multiple generations of the Brown family, and the implications are absolutely staggering. Here's the explosive truth that ties everything together. Robyn didn't just grab money from one property sale. She orchestrated a complete financial takeover that has permanently altered the Brown family's economic future. When you add up all the numbers, her strategic maneuvering has diverted approximately $2 million away from shared family wealth into her exclusive control. Think about what that means for Kody's other children, Madison, who hasn't spoken to her father in 3 years and didn't even tell him about her fourth pregnancy, will never inherit anything from the father she once adored. Garrison's memory has been financially erased from his father's legacy. Mykelti, Aspen, Logan, and all the others will discover someday that their stepmother legally eliminated them from any meaningful inheritance. Industry insiders reveal that Robyn's financial empire building represents one of the most successful wealth transfers in reality television history. She entered a family that had been building assets for decades and managed to redirect almost all of that accumulated wealth toward her own children exclusively. The other wives didn't just lose money, they lost generational security for their families. But here's the most infuriating aspect of this entire scheme. Robyn accomplished all of this while maintaining her victim narrative on camera. She cried about fairness while being utterly unfair. She talked about family unity while systematically destroying financial unity. She positioned herself as someone making sacrifices while actually making the biggest financial grab in Sister Wives history. Sources close to the Brown family situation whisper that the psychological damage from these revelations may be irreparable. When Kody's other children eventually understand what happened, when they realize their father chose to legally erase them from his estate, the emotional devastation will extend far beyond money. Robyn hasn't just stolen their inheritance. She's potentially destroyed their relationships with their father forever. Palace insiders suggest that Robyn's ultimate victory isn't just financial. She's successfully isolated Kody from most of his other children, secured exclusive control over family wealth, and positioned her own children to inherit everything. everything. She's essentially achieved what every competing wife in polygamy dreams of: total dominance over the family's resources and relationships. The most shocking realization: this was always Robyn's plan. From the moment she entered this family, she wasn't looking to be another wife sharing resources and responsibilities. She was strategically positioning herself to eventually control everything. Every tier, every victim narrative, every claim about wanting fairness was part of a calculated long-term strategy to financially dominate everyone around her. What started as a property dispute has revealed the truth about Robyn Brown. She was never interested in sister-wife harmony or shared family success. She was building a financial empire, and she's succeeded beyond anyone's wildest imagination. The question now is whether the other family members will ever fully understand what happened to them, or if Robyn's manipulation was so complete that they'll never realize how thoroughly they were played. Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you won't believe what's coming next.